Well, this video will be a little bit for those of you who are Star Wars fans and also interested in personality type, but hopefully you'll be able to follow along even if you don't know much about Star Wars. So the character in Star Wars C-3PO, he's a droid, and he is programmed to perform certain tasks. He calls himself he's a protocol droid, and he calls himself, or he refers to himself as someone who specializes in human cyborg relations. So his job is to help humans and cyborgs be able to interrelate and work together. Now, I think that C-3PO is, in a sense, an interesting case study to look at so that we can better see ourselves and some of our own flaws and how we might be able to improve. So I want to share some thoughts with you along those lines. So in the Star Wars movies, the character of C-3PO regularly repeats sort of his programming. So when anyone asks him about himself, not only does he mention that he is programmed for human-cyborg relations, but he also says that he is programmed for etiquette and protocol and that he's fluent in over 6 million forms of communication. Now, what's interesting about C-3PO is that he is always at the ready to share this information about his wiring, about the way he is programmed, and he is never at the ready and almost always unwilling to go outside of his programming and do anything but exactly what he was programmed to do. So he is very one-track minded, dedicated to spending his every moment of existence doing the one thing that his internal wiring is saying, this is what you must do, and always fighting against any push or pull that would lead him to do something other than the express purpose of what his programming created him to be and to do. Now, this in the C-3PO character, if you watch Star Wars, is over the top obvious. You can almost always predict exactly how C-3PO will behave in any given situation, and it will always be consistent with his primary programming. And this is how we behave frequently. I don't care what personality type you are. It does not matter which of the 16 types you are. You are by nature someone who wants to always go back to your default programming. Now, for one person, that might be introverted feeling and extroverted sensing as their two top functions. Think of the first one as being human-cyborg relations, and the second one is etiquette and protocol and fluent in over 6 million forms of communication. You might be TESI, you might be NIFE. It doesn't matter what your personality type is. Those top two cognitive functions are your primary brain wiring. And your mind, those cognitive functions, are informing your every decision. They're constantly telling you that you need to behave in a way that is perfectly consistent with that brain wiring. And you are at risk, if you are not self-aware, of always being like C-3PO, just a repetitive droid who keeps saying the same things and doing the same things over and over and over. In fact, you will, to those around you, become extremely predictable, like C-3PO is. We can watch C-3PO and say, oh, in this situation, he will almost definitely do this, and he almost definitely does. And so also it will be with you. And so also it is with me. So for me, let's just say, my two primary programs are introverted feeling and extroverted sensing. Introverted feeling is constantly saying, you exist to, or you are programmed to find what you like and bask in it. Do the things that you want to do. Live the way that you want to live. And that is such a strong program that I will almost always, if I am not self-aware and careful, I will almost always default back to, in every situation, no, I must do what makes me feel good. I must do what I like. I must always go back to what I like. And my extroverted sensing is constantly saying, go experience new physical things. Go bring in the physical things necessary to make the FI, the introverted feeling, happy. And so what I look like when I'm in C-3PO mode is I'm grabbing physical experiences, seeing if my FI likes them, or in other words, does this make me happy? Does this make me happy? Does this make me happy? Oh yes, this makes me happy. Great, I just want more of that. Because that's what my FI likes. So my SE is like, okay, let's go grab more of that and give it to the FI, give it to the introverted feeling, so that the introverted feeling will be happy. Because of course, the most important thing in the world is that I am happy, that I'm filled with and surrounded by things that I like, things that make me feel good, things that create positive emotions within me. Right? And so whenever a extroverted thinking task comes along, hey, you need to do this. Whoa, I don't like that. That doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't give me good emotions. So let's don't do that. I'm not programmed for that. I'm programmed for, etiquette and protocol, or I'm programmed for finding the physical world things that I like, that make me feel good, and that give me good emotions. So that's what I do. So I'm C-3PO going, yeah, I can't do that extroverted thinking task because it's not in line with my primary brain wiring, which is find physical things that make me feel good or make me happy or are pleasing to me. Someone else comes along and says, hey, we need to introverted intuition narrow down on a plan here and determine a path that we're going to use to go forward. We need to spend some time preparing for the coming months. Ooh, no, I don't think I can do that. That's not in my primary wiring. My primary wiring says, gather up things in the physical world that make me happy. Sorry, can't do the planning. That doesn't work for me. Somebody else comes along and says, hey, we need to do some extroverted intuition brainstorming and come up with some potential ideas of how, yeah, no, I'm not programmed for that. I'm programmed for etiquette and protocol, okay? I'm programmed for finding things in the physical world that makes me feel good and then just kind of basking in those things, okay? I just need to be happy. I need to do what I want and do what I like. That's what I'm programmed for. You need to find a different droid for what you want. And so it goes with all these different things. Hey, we really need to spend significant amounts of time organizing the physical world. Ooh, yeah, I really want that to be done, but that's not in my primary programming. So you need to find a different droid that will do that. And we all can be that ridiculous with whatever our top two functions are. For me, it's the introverted feeling and the extroverted sensing, but for you, it may be something completely different, right? It could be the extroverted intuition and introverted feeling. You're like, hey, I just need to gather up new ideas that I like and that make me feel good, okay? It could be introverted intuition and extroverted feeling. Hey, I need to just plan for things that are gonna bring about positivity for everyone around me and put us all in a good emotional state. It could be introverted sensing and extroverted thinking. I just need to organize the physical world in such a way that we're able to accomplish tasks and get things done. And the problem is that no matter what those two top functions are for you, you run the risk, and honestly, you probably fall into it quite frequently, you run the risk of falling into C-3PO mode where all you can do is just, this is my primary programming, this is what I am wired to do, and so this is what I will do, like all the time, oh my gosh, and I have to let you know, because like that's what I do, this is the thing that I do. And when anything else comes along that really, truly you should do, but it's not in your primary programming, you run the risk of saying, I'm not programmed for that, I can't do that. My programming says no. The moment you say, hey, why don't you branch out a little bit and try this? No. Why don't you try to become a more well-rounded human being? No. Why don't you try to strengthen your lower cognitive functions because they're really causing you some problems? The fact that they're weak or that you don't use them? No. I'm not wired for that. I see the C-3PO mode in myself. I see it from time to time, but the reality is I'm probably in that mode almost all the time. I only catch myself every once in a while, but I would imagine that people looking at me from the outside can probably see it more clearly. And so it will be with you. This is why we need to become much more well-rounded human beings, because what we will want to do by nature is to fall into, I only do these things that please my top two cognitive functions. Maybe my third one, I'll try to work that in too, but largely I ignore all these things. Now, if you contrast that with a droid like R2-D2, right? He's an astromech droid, an astronomical mechanics droid. He's designed to work on spaceships. That's what he's made to do, to fix spaceships. But he does everything. It doesn't matter what he's needed for. Whatever he is needed for in any given moment, he is willing to do that, and he has mastered all manner of tasks. So he is not limited. When R2-D2 is called upon to do something that he is not wired to do, he doesn't, like C-3PO, say, yeah, I can't do that. I'm not wired for that. He just tackles the task because that's what is required of him at that moment to move forward with the plan, to move toward the goal, to accomplish the thing that needs to be accomplished. We need to be more like that. We need to be more like R2-D2 than we are C-3PO. But we are typically much more C-3PO-like than we are R2-D2-like. And so I would just challenge you to try to catch yourself. Watch yourself on a daily basis and ask yourself the question, how often am I falling into C-3PO mode where I only want to do my top two functions and I automatically just reject anything and everything that would require me to grow and become more well-rounded, that would require me to use those lower cognitive functions to help myself, to help other people, to bring about a plan, to organize the world, to make things work, to figure out difficult, complex ideas, to make myself feel good or happy, and to make others feel good or happy around me. These are all things that we need to be a part of, but you cannot accomplish these things if you constantly fall back into C-3PO mode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this entertaining, informational, or useful. If you did, please click like. Please subscribe if you have not already, and have an awesome day. Bye now.